Hi, my name is Jacob Rupp. I am a coach for men, and I've been challenged to do a 30-day Facebook Live situation, so I am jumping to day number 2. Today is going to be a little bit more universal than just relating to men. Hopefully it can relate to everybody. I had a conversation with someone where I was asking them why they had chosen a certain career route that they had taken. And the person mentioned, I initially had wanted to be a spiritual leader. And then I had been told something by someone, another spiritual leader, that X, Y, and Z, and therefore I completely got rid of it. And the interesting thing, and what was told, that they wouldn't necessarily be the most conventional or the most accepted authority. And I was stunned. It was like a throwaway comment. But what I realized is this person had been told while they were in college something that had completely crushed their dreams. And they had kind of come around later in life to something that was a little bit in the same field, they're still inspired by it, but it wasn't really hammering home at their unique contribution. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. That's actually a situation where what you wanted, your dreams, had actually been crushed by somebody. Then I got to think, have I ever done that to somebody else? Has that ever been done to me? And then I asked another great question. If you were watching late last night, I was showing my friend Andrew Breskin about social media and Facebook Live, and we did a little bit of a podcast. And I asked him a question that in 40 years of knowing him, I had never really found out. And I asked him what's your favorite part? Andrew's a very unique individual because he brings into the kosher wine industry a very broad experience from the non-kosher wine industry, because he had grown up and really gotten trained as a while before him we had taken the step to becoming more observant, and had knows all the non-kosher wines. And so I asked him what's your favorite part about your industry? Andrew loves business and he acquiring customers and things like that. What he said was he loves to find wine that tastes like the non-kosher stuff. And that's the most thrilling thing for him. And the interesting thing that came out from that is you see that that's a completely unique niche that no one would ever suggest would go into it. So let's parlay that into, I love that word, it's so good, I don't know what it means. But let's parlay that into what we're going through right now in the Jewish world, which is the holiday of Purim. We know the famous situation where you have the leader of the civilized world, at that point a guy named Achashverosh, and he had decreed to kill all the Jews. And he had a wife who, unbeknownst to him, was Jewish. Mordechai, who was the head of the Jews, went to Esther, the queen of Achashverosh, who herself was Jewish, and said the most unbelievable line ever. Again, if you could imagine the amount of begging that you think that he would go into and say, please, I know it means you're going to give up your life or potentially put your life in danger, but please help us out. You're our only hope. You must help us, right? Just I'm a nerd out, but I'm not that nerdy because I only watched a few of these when I was 5, but not to say whatever. Star Wars, the very beginning in the New Hope, right, in the 70s, they said, please, you're Obi-Wan, you're our only hope. So you think that's the speech that Mordechai would give Esther, please, Esther, you're our only hope. He doesn't say that. What does he say? He said, again, now Esther was corrupted into being this, not corrupted, but she was brought into this terrible situation. She didn't want to marry the king. She didn't want anything to do with him. Achashverosh was gross, right? But what she did, but she was there, and it was a terrible situation, right? So he goes to Esther, he says this, he says, don't think, do not imagine, right, that you'll be able to escape the fate. Because if you keep silent at a time like this, relief and deliverance will come from somewhere else, while you and your father's house will perish. And who knows whether it was just for such a time like this that you attain the royal position. Boom. That's amazing. We spend so long trying to figure out, how do I get that winning edge? How do I get faster? How do I get smarter? How do I acquire more customers? What's the life hack? Right? Again, do you need that? Yeah, absolutely. At the very top, or not even the very top, right? The ones that are a little bit better are only that much better, right? It's a very small difference between people. But the amazing thing is the following. We look for these little minutiae that's going to make us a little bit better, a little bit different than everybody else. But the reality is that you have to look into your own life. You have to try to figure out for yourself what makes me unique, what makes me different. Where am I drawn? Where am I inspired? Based on my own situation. And oftentimes that comes out of a negative situation or a perceived negative situation, right? A mentor of mine, I don't know him, but I watch him on Facebook all the time, a guy named Eric Thomas. He talks about how his greatest edge was the fact that he was homeless. And then he went through all these horrible emotions so that he doesn't get sad anymore. He talks about how he has this perception of himself that was built. Tony Robbins says the same thing. Talks about his mom being a drug addict and the experience that built him into the man he was today. So it's an unbelievable perspective that we can take for our lives. which is that we have bad stuff that happens. And I was telling some of my high school students that I speak to, when you're young, sometimes bad stuff doesn't happen. But, you have enough years on this planet, right? Things will happen to you that will hurt you, that will break your heart. When I was a little kid, I always felt awkward, like nothing bad ever happened to me. Then I had, some people close to me pass away, and then I had my parents get divorced, and then I had a whole, kind of explosive relationship with my dad, and I had my whole weight situation, and without even realizing it, like life had thrown things that could become very easy to get depressed about. But what I realized was down the road, and what I'm still working on, is those areas of downfall, those areas of situations where you're like, God, did you turn your back on me? Like, you feel so far away and alone and lost and pathetic and sad and depressed, and I'm just putting out there all this stuff I've gone through, right? And then you realize, like, holy moly, like that's the thing that I can actually talk about. That's what's actually interesting for me. That's what I can actually bring out and actually have some unique perspective on. Just like we learned about that, for someone that knows the world of wines, the world of kosher wines, the world of business, what was the most interesting is, how do I combine my past and my future? And how do I combine my past and my present, rather, and create something that's actually very, very unique? So I want to give everyone a blessing, a call to action. The call to action is, if you like this, if you like the message here, please share it with somebody you care about. I'm going to put this on YouTube also, so I can have that as another option for those of us that don't have Facebook. But try to think down what makes you really unique. And the way that you try to nail that down is, what's the situation that you perceived as bad, and how did you get through it? And that's your story. That's your unique message. Shabbat Shalom. Happy Purim. Hope this was valuable.